So recently I was browsing through Reddit and I think I've found a solution to the Ricoh problem that I mentioned in my last video. It's basically where the battery compartment is not tight enough, which I don't know exactly why that's the case because, I mean, this opening is never loose. So what I had to do is kind of like push down the battery further down in order for it to contact inside the spring. So this way it gets battery, like it gets powered up. So basically what I did was to use like a plastic foam and just like stick it to the compartment and then push all the way down. This way like my Ricoh turns on pretty much, well, kind of all the time. Not exactly all the time, but it still kind of works.
So I'm actually in Switzerland to cover an event, and this very first day happened to be like an open free day. So I had some time to just wander around and do a little bit of shopping. So the Ricoh seems to be like the perfect companion to bring with. Now with the 60 to 70% turn on rate on my Ricoh, I say it's good enough to bring it in my pocket and just kind of like bring it everywhere with me. And it was actually quite nice and decent. Most of the time I just have to, press the on and off button a couple of times and then it'll turn on. It does drain the battery a bit more, but I say it's worth it compared to like, I don't know if I turn it off and then it'll actually turn back on again. And yes, of course, I tried not to turn it off whenever possible.
So it's still kind of iffy, like it's not 100% fixed. I think it's because my plastic foam is getting pushed down further and further each time I close it. And it's just like back to its original state. So I need something that's stronger, I think. But overall, I think it fixed the problem. So far, so good. It's not really acting up anymore. Well, most of the time. I feel like it works like 60 to 70% of the time. So that's good.
And like I said, I was just kind of wandering around the city at the same time also doing some chocolate shopping, like a lot of chocolate.
And this place, I'm running out of room in my basket. And on top of that, there's like 20% off until like April 20th.
And I also had to visit one of my favorite restaurants in the city, which is Ricoh. I hope I pronounced it correctly, but it's basically the oldest vegetarian restaurant in the world. Since 1898, I believe. And the food there is just phenomenal. Like every time I go back to Zurich, like that's the one restaurant I had to go. Now it's not my favorite vegetarian restaurants in the city, but it's decent enough and way better than a lot of like the vegetarian restaurants here that I had in the States here. As you can see, the weather is not exactly gorgeous. Everything was going great until it kind of started raining. And I may have accidentally tested the weather sealing on the Ricoh GR3, shooting in the rain. That being said, I actually have shot in the rain with the GR3 before in Japan and it was pouring like crazy. Nothing really happened. Well, at least that's what I thought. And, the Ricoh still worked fine. But this time, oh boy.
So this is like the first day in Zurich right now. And I'm already noticing another problem for my Ricoh. I don't know if it was because it's raining and I was using it and then kind of messed up my dial. I know, totally my fault. So the dial over here, when it turns, it doesn't really work. Like I kind of had to show you real quick here, but like whenever I turn it, it just like jumps around back and forth. So this is annoying.
So now that I'm back, it's time for plan B, otherwise known as a little DIY electronic therapy. Here's the plan. I'm gonna spray a little bit of isopropyl around the wheel and just turn it. And maybe even hit the battery compartment while I'm at it, just to make sure the whole system is breathing easy. By the way, I actually got the idea from one of the comments saying that they had the problem with the wheels, with the dial wheel here. And another person replied, by using isopropyl, you can actually kind of like fix the wheel. So Alright, let's give this a try. That's a good sign. Turn on the first try, and although I think I'm still gonna keep the plastic there just for the sake of it. If it still works, it works. Now let's check out the wheel. Yeah, it is turning alright. This is working better than I expected. Like, thanks to whoever commented that. And I also read up on Reddit that people are using like contact cleaner to kind of spray around the wheels. That also seems to work for a lot of people, and whenever the wheels stop working again, you just come back to it and just spray it again. Now, another workaround that I did during the trip is that just not using the wheel for ISO, because if you look at the, I don't even know what this is. It's like a adjustment button here on top over here. If you press that, you actually have like 5 function button. I don't even know if it's called function button, but that's just called a function button here. And one of the buttons is like something I never use, is like self timer. So I just switched that to the ISO. And this way I only have to click the wheel like up and down to change the ISO instead of turning the wheels. Now it's obviously not as fast as turning the wheel, because I mean, it's just faster turning it instead of clicking on the button. But this way you will still be able to shoot in full manual if you like to shoot full manual like I do. So that was the little workaround that I did during the trips, so I can still use my Ricoh, you know, with the dials and everything. And it seems like the isopropyl trick also sort of fixed the battery problem too. Like, check this out. Turn it off. Turn it on. Look at that, 2 in a row. Whoa. Oh my god. This is like 100 hit right now. So yeah, give it a try if you have the same problem or similar problem. I just kind of wish I read the comment earlier on the trip, so I can just like, you know, spray alcohol on my wheel and fix the problem altogether. And also the battery compartment, because like 60-70% turning on rate was just like, it's good, but it's just not satisfying whenever I'm like, oh, here's a shot, and then it doesn't turn on, but it does turn on now. So I guess the moral of the story is that even though things go sideways or spin just wildly out of control, it's all part of the journey, and you just try to find a fix or solution to it. That's kind of fun, actually, the process of solving a problem. And yes, sometimes the fix is temporary, even though now, like with the isopropyl spray or whatever, like it's turning alright, but this might come back again. And it seems like all you need is just a little alcohol for your camera, and also for yourself, depending on your day. So thanks again to whoever commented the solution down in the comment section. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, or just comment how you broke your camera. Share your story and or solutions so we can benefit, all of us.